Welcome back to Federal Insights, part of the Digital Modernization Series. The topic of this week's discussion is automation, sponsored by GDIT here on Federal News Network. My guest today is Robert Smallwood, the Senior Director for Digital Modernization at GDIT. I'm Tom Temin. And Rob, let's talk about automation a little bit more closely in this segment. And automation, modernization, in some ways, they're similar if you look at automation in the old-fashioned sense of
Mhm.
the term, but what's the contemporary meaning of automation and how does that relate to agency modernization efforts?
So within GDIT and actually with, within our programs and customer environments, we take an approach related to automation of automate everywhere where it makes sense, right? And basically that means uh, any new modernizations that you're bringing into the environment, you should incorporate the necessary automations as part of that solution, not from kind of our legacy mindsets of where we had these legacy processes and then we went to automate them, but actually incorporating the automation at the very beginning. And I would say that applies to AI and some other things as well, because what it does is when you're looking at the modernization, it changes your entire perspective about how you're going to provide that service to your customer or within GDIT. As an example, if you approach service desk, for example, and you want to bolt on automation or bolt on an AI related to the service desk, uh, you have a different perspective than coming in and saying, these are going to be my defaults. This is, this is my default. And then if I have to, I'll resort to those other legacy type processes and hand off to a service agent. And what we find is that actually ends up providing a better capability to the end user, right? They don't have to go and talk to a service desk agent just to reset their password because they couldn't remember it on Monday morning after they came back from vacation, right? So incorporating those automations, but looking at it from that perspective, right? That's our default.
I guess you could have a service agent automated say your post-it note is on the floor if they lose their password. But let me ask you
Yeah,
this.
correct.
The question comes up from time to time. What is the difference between orchestration and automation in this context? Because I think it's an important distinction.
Yeah, and it's actually a somewhat of a misconception, and even in the IT world, right? Automation is more about automating a specific task. Orchestration is taking a set of automations and orchestrating an entire process, for example. So you might have an automation to provision a user account in Active Directory, for example. That's an automation. You can do it through a script or other mechanisms that are available today. But when you look at orchestration, it could be the entire onboarding process from the person accepts the offer letter, they go through their onboarding training, they get their machine provision, they get their account provision, all their access is automatically provided to them. So then on day one, they can be as productive as possible. So that's an orchestration. You're taking all those things and pulling them together to provide a more robust outcome.
And so to make the automated components of an orchestrated system, I guess if that's the overarching goal, is to make less friction for the people, whatever it is that they're doing, onboarding or arriving at the agency or applying for a passport, whatever the case might be. What about the
Yep.
programming aspect of this? Because I think a lot of agencies worry when there's programming involved, the possibility for length and cost and mistakes and so on. So maybe discuss the best ways to approach automating discrete functions while saving as much coding as you can.
Yeah, and the great thing with a lot of the automations nowadays, they don't require you to really understand VB script or Java or whatever the programming language is anymore, right? I remember many years ago having to create VB scripts to do whatever it was I was trying to accomplish. Today you have tools like UiPath or Live Objects or other vendors, even ServiceNow and BMC that have those capabilities kind of built in, and it takes it from a functional perspective. And the person doing it doesn't have to actually understand how to code. These tools actually are able to mimic what a human does and then do all that back end coding and stuff itself without the person having to understand it.
And what is the managerial aspect, I guess, to put it that way, of the automation decision tree? I mean, how do you know what to automate such that you can
Mhm.
make sure that you get this higher level orchestration, which is really the point of modernization in many cases?
Right. Another challenge of the legacy environments, you had all these one-off automations that were everywhere. You had your Windows guys had their scripts, your network guys had their scripts, and there was no overarching kind of here's where all my automations live, here's my governance over all of those. Making sure that they're updated as needed, retired if not needed, uh, and so what we're finding is that taking it from that holistic approach, creating a more deliberate mechanism to automate within an organization, actually setting up a team, whether that team is solely responsible for automation or maybe their focus is around innovation and improvement. Sometimes I see that automation aspect incorporated into those type of teams. But having that focus and kind of corralling it around, because the one thing you don't want to do from a bureaucratic perspective, you don't want that to stifle or cause bottlenecks in the automations being created. Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to empower everyone at all levels to be able to automate and enable them to do their job more effectively and efficiently.
All right, good place to take a break. We'll be back right after this. My guest today is Rob Smallwood, the Senior Director for Digital Modernization at GDIT. I'm your moderator, Tom Temin, on Federal Insights, part of the Digital Modernization series discussing automation, sponsored by GDIT here on Federal News Network.